Is anyone scared of spiders? Anyone? You are. When I was a little girl, I was absolutely petrified of spiders. And my mother sat me down and she said to me, Ruth, why are you so scared of spiders? And I said, because they've got big, fat, hairy legs. And she said to me, what is it about these big, fat, hairy legs that you don't like? And I said, oh, because, you know, they run up your arm. And then she said to me, well, what is it about running up your arm that you don't like? And I said, oh, because then they'll run in your clothes and they'll go all missing. And she said to me, well, what is it about running in your clothes that you don't like? And I said, oh, because I'll pat them down like that and I'll try and kill them. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then I realised that actually I wasn't scared of spiders at all. I was actually scared about hurting them. And you're probably thinking, what the hell am I talking about? And I will get onto that in a minute. Because for me, it's always it's about asking the right questions over and over again and making sure you get the right answers to that. And that's why, it's not why I wrote the Facebook guidelines, not about this spider, but it's the philosophy behind it. You know, you are the expert, your client expects you to know those answers. If you don't know it, don't rely on Jake in photocopying or someone in developing section to tell you that you can't do something in a certain way. Go and look it up for yourself. So I'm Ruth. I'm one of the legal advisory consultants at the IPM, along with Beverly Saha. And we advise on thousands of promotions, and I recognise a lot of you in the room today. And it's our job to make sure that we check your promotion from a legal CAP code point of view. We look at Facebook promotional policies, we look at their rules. I'll give you advice on best practice. I'll tell you the current issues that are happening at the moment, stuff that's happening behind the scenes. You know, that's my job, to check all elements of that. But it's also your job to make sure that you are an expert. Now, I really wanted to understand my stuff, so I decided I would go away and I'd write this guide to running promotions on Facebook, and it's taken me about 6 months to do it. And we started off by sending out a questionnaire to everyone, and thank you for all those people who filled out my very, very long questionnaire. And thank you to all the LAS users as well who regularly give me updates on what's happening with their promotions. So I've taken all of that and I've written this document, and it's really to simplify the process. You know, I realised that there was a knowledge gap. And some of the questions I get asked, they're very, very common. So I've got here, a colleague in design said, we can't use alcohol in promotions. Can I run a promotion to win a roll of sellotape on my Facebook page? Why can't I complain about a Facebook ad? Facebook have been in touch about my promotion and asked where's my privacy policy. I didn't know I had to have one and you didn't tell me. The Facebook rules change all the time. Facebook are not concerned about enforcement. Why should we care? There's so many non-compliant promotions on Facebook. My terms and conditions are one click away. Why do I need to have significant conditions on my initial advertisement? And anyway, the client said to me, it looks really, really messy. Facebook have taken down my promotion because it contravenes the rules on sharing. What should I do? Now, those are some of the questions, and they're very, very regular questions I get asked. So I thought, okay, I'm going to write this guide. I'm going to put all my content into it, all the fact that you need to know. And it's available for download tomorrow at midnight. So, you know, please go and download it from the IPM website. Now, what I wanted to do today was just go through 5 key points I just want you to take away today. And then you can ask me as many questions as you like. I know that there are a few people with a few questions. So, I've talked about that already, sorry. My top 5, starting at number 5, is about using the share button. Now, I know that a lot of agencies or account people still don't know this rule, because I had another question on it yesterday about a promotion they're wanting to share, and it's simply not allowed. And the question I get asked is, well, Ruth, I've already sold this in, we're going to press tomorrow, you know, well, sorry, you can't do it. So what is it about the share button and directly incentivising? So if I had a coupon, you couldn't say, share this with 5 friends and you get to download that coupon. That is direct incentivization. That is not allowed. I go into more detail in my little guide as well to give you some more explanations. Another example I can give you is share this promotion with 5 of your friends and you'll get an extra entry into this prize promotion. Not allowed. Direct incentivization. If you get 1 complaint or Facebook spot it, they'll pull your promotion down. So what is allowed? How can I use the share button? You can use it in an optional kind of way. So if you said to somebody, download the coupon, and then you give them the facility to share with friends if they want to, that's allowed. What else is allowed? Indirect incentivization is allowed. So if, this is quite complex, so bear with me. Ask your friend, if your friend enters share with your friends, if they enter, you'll get an extra entry in towards the promotion. So it's indirect incentivization. They have to physically do something for you to get that additional benefit. Don't forget your significant terms. For some reason, promoters, brands, agencies forget that, you know, if you were doing an on-pack promotion, you wouldn't forget to write your significant terms on that piece of FMCG. You just wouldn't forget. If your initial communication on Facebook is the first point that anyone's going to see, you need significant terms on that piece, and this is a recurring issue I keep seeing all the time. Make sure you have all your significant terms on there. Otherwise, you could be breaching the CAP code, and you could get an ASA adjudication, and your client won't be happy. It's section 8.16 of the code, and I hope everyone's got a code of practice they keep in their drawer. If not, you can go and download it from the ASA website. I've also snuck another one in here. Be careful about notification timelines. With social media being the way it is, timelines are speeding up really, really quickly. So best practice is 28 days for notification of winners in order for them to claim their prize. Now, I see it that you're giving 24 hours or 48 hours. The ASA are becoming more and more concerned about this, so I would expect them to pick up on, you know, as soon as another complaint comes through on this, it wouldn't surprise me if they came to an adjudication on that. But if you are looking at short timelines, make sure you put them up front in your significant terms so they can't come back to bite you. And actually, you want your winners to win. You don't want to have to redraw another winner, so put them up front in your significant terms. Number 3, voting. I don't know how many of you have done voting style promotions before, but voting on Facebook is an absolute nightmare. There are specific voting sites where you as an individual can go and get thousands of unique votes for your promotion. So, you know, you need to put in clauses into your long terms and conditions to state that this practice is absolutely outlawed. The problem is if you don't have those terms in, consumers, the compers, the people who Ed was just talking about will be the first people onto that website to start complaining about that promotion, saying it's unfair, this is a scam, you know, all these people are cheating, and you'll have a complete nightmare. There's been quite a few adjudications on voting. Pingwing is one that is quite recent, and they didn't have any terms in there regarding voting and outlawing people who cheat. But they decided halfway through, because of the huge amount of complaints they were getting, that they would insert that as a term. But actually the ASA adjudicated that that was unfair because they're suddenly changing, you know, that halfway through. So what's very clear is whatever route you take, you have to stick to it and don't change it. If it was left to me, I would say no, don't do voting ever, but I know that that's not going to happen because just recently I approved a promotion for a client and she said, oh, you know, it's to win a roll of sellotape, we're going to do voting. I was like, oh, you know, the compers are not going to come in, they're not going to complain. You know, it's literally to win something that's worth £5. So everyone uploaded their entries and there was a huge barrage of complaints about the fact that the vote rigging sites. In fact, there was no terms in there behind the scenes, and the voting was going crazy just to win this minimal stuff. And it goes back to what Ed's saying again, consumers, compers, they just want free stuff. So make sure in any voting promotion that you're putting in these extra terms. The extra terms are actually in this book that I've written, well, not book, but document. So you can go in and find those. But the thing is, that the one headache with a voting promotion where you have put in these so-called terms is that, it's the policing of that. There's 10, 50, 100 different sites that you'll have to police, and you'll still get compers who are complaining about this anyway. So that's about voting. 2, one of the questions I got asked a lot were, why do Facebook keep changing their terms and conditions? Why do they keep, it's impossible to run a promotion because they're changing their terms every week. Well, actually, that's simply not true. And with major changes, they do operate what's called a breaking change, which gives you 90 days to change your, the physicalities of that promotion. A lot of promotions don't even run that long anyway. So, but you do need to think about, if you are going to change anything fundamental, how that will have a knock-on effect to your promotion as well. Because you can't physically change the terms of something that's live, because potentially you'll be in breach of the CAP code anyway. It's really important as well to stay abreast of everything that's happening in terms of the legal framework. I'm not a lawyer, but I keep myself knowledgeable, and I keep myself, I know what's happening in the industry. I know the laws that are coming through, and you should be exactly the same. For example, the minimum pricing on alcohol that's due to come in any month now, potentially. Now, this could affect our industry quite dramatically, and we need to know that now rather than when the law changes, so that you could at least you're knowledgeable about that. Because if you're doing, for example, 50% off a bottle of vodka on Facebook, and the law changes, then that promotion could be illegal essentially. You need to know ahead of the game. Although the law does give a grace period of time, but okay. There's no compers in the room, is there? I had a call from a comper the other day, and she asked me to come and speak at their conference. Can you believe it? I was just like, no, you're the last people I want to speak to. You're the enemy. Well, they made it to number 1. And it's no doubt, just after Ed's presentation as well, they do make my life hell, basically, but I suppose they keep me in a job as well. So, they are the only people that are going to read your terms and conditions. They are the only people who are going to go on the social media site and start complaining about it. And they're going to get their friends to do it. Oh, John, get onto that promotion and start complaining and start putting pressure to get us free stuff. And that's how they do it. So the important thing is to never get to that situation, and to make sure you've got those terms within your, as many terms as possible to help you. And Ed was talking about coupon redemptions, for example, or what was the point I was trying to link up? About getting people off the social media sites and onto an email. Now that's a really important term. You need to have that in your long terms and conditions. The promoter will not discuss this promotion via Facebook. Email us at this email address. End of story. And then you can start referencing the terms and conditions. The terms say X, Y, and Z. You need to speak to us on this email account. There's more information in this document as well about other terms that will help you against the enemy. So, get an expert to approve your promotion, and make sure that they're not just doing it from a legal or regulatory point of view, because you can tick those boxes and still have a nightmare, if you haven't thought about the Facebook platform, if you haven't thought about the potential PR impact of it, if you haven't thought about the compers and how they're going to attack your promotion. So, the main message I've got to you today is go and download the go and download the guide early next week. If you've got, this is the first version that I've written. If you've got any questions after you've read it, then please get in touch, because you may think, oh, well, I haven't included a section on whatever. Well, I can include that in the next one, and I can go away and I can find out all the tools we need to know to make sure we're running the promotions as effectively as possible. So that's it. Thanks. Any questions?